Okay, I'm going to start the video again. You can see I've worked these piles down. I've got about four piles left now. You can see my bin with all the compost. I've got quite a bit of compost in there now. You can see there's the compost. And you can see I've also got quite a few worms crawling away from the piles. You can see there are a couple of nice large European night crawlers in there. Here's my container where I've been dumping my worms. You can see even in the container they have worked their way down into the bottom of the container. You can see there's quite a cluster of worms in there. There's the light I use that forces them down into the piles. And here's the inside of this new box that I've got. You can see I've got a lot of scraps I've thrown. Here was an old avocado shell that was in the other box, for pieces of newspaper. Here's a stalk, an old corn stalk that I threw in there that they haven't consumed yet. Some things take them a little bit longer to consume, but they eventually will consume it all, or it will just compost on its own. Okay, so I'm still working my way through these 4 piles. Let's take a look at this small pile I've got here. You can see the bottom of the pile. That's what happens. The worms cluster into the bottom of the pile, and that makes it a little easier for you to get them out and to put into your container. See, if I'd waited longer, they would have probably all been down in the bottom. But you can see I've got quite a few nice worms in there. So I'll just keep that pile there for a while and let them work their way down into the bottom of it. Now you can see I've got quite a few worms just crawling around on the table here. Now I've found a good way of picking them up is just use a knife. I just pick up a knife and put them into my container that way, even the little ones. You can see there are quite a few babies there. There's a nice little baby. There's another one. So that's what I do as far as cleaning up my area. I don't want to waste any of the worms because they're doing the work for me and producing all this wonderful compost, and that's basically what I'm after. Okay, let's see what this big pile's doing here. Put the compost in my container here. There's a worm. You see there are a few little worms in there. What I do is I pick them out if I see some. Then I just basically move this stuff around from time to time, and yeah, there's a worm. If I see one, I'll pick it out. Otherwise, I don't worry about it too much. So I keep working my way through this pile. There was one nice big worm there that hadn't gotten down into the bottom yet. Again, I haven't waited as long as I normally would. I normally wait about maybe a half hour to an hour even to give them a chance to work their way down to the bottom. It makes it a little bit easier for me to do my sorting. See, I take the stuff from the outside, and then I put it in here and I pick out any scraps and put them into the new box. Let's see what this little pile's got in it. Now see, they're not too many worms in the bottom of that pile, see? It depends what part of the box the compost has come from. Now this particular area evidently didn't have as many worms in it. But there are a few little ones in there. There's no leftover piece of tomato. There's some seeds in there. You get it all, but it's still all good compost. Let's see what this big pile has got anything in the bottom. Now, there are not too many worked their way in the bottom of that one yet, so I'll let that one stay a while. Again, I've got a few crawling around on the table here. There's another little one there. Some of these are so small you can hardly even see them. Okay, let's see what this big pile here. Now see, that big pile's got a pretty nice number of worms in the bottom of it. You see them all wiggling there. Okay, I'm going to turn off the video now, and we'll pick it up later when I've finished separating these 4 piles.